So after that, I again gave prelims next year and I missed it again. And that feeling of not being able to achieve anything for so long, it became even more severe. And then I decided ki
Rashveen Kaur is the personification of dignity and poise. I was so moved by her story, and I'm sure that all the people who are watching, if you have gone through struggles in your life, you are going to relate to this story. So watch it till the end. Rashveen has cleared RBI Grade B 2019 in the general category, and here is her success story. Hello, everyone. Today we have been joined by a very special lady. She has cracked RBI Grade B 2019. Welcome to Ms. Rashveen Kaur. Thank you for joining us and congratulations on your success, Rashveen. How do you feel right now?
thank you so much, sir. So this was it was a very pleasant surprise after waiting for 8 long months after giving interview. It was just like a dream come true finally seeing that roll number in their PDF. And I have to tell you, like, I don't remember how many times I actually checked the PDF to see that it was my roll number that I was seeing. And I made it sure that I checked it from so many people ki ha, it's actually my roll number, because for a moment it was like I couldn't even realize that yeah, I actually cleared it. So it was a great feeling to have.
That's amazing to hear, Rashveen. And it's quite interesting that you do not have any work experience. You only have work experience of an NGO. You'd never worked in a
Yes,
corporate
sir.
environment. So many people
Yes,
watching
sir.
this, yeah, they might have felt that they need to have so much work experience. They need to have that IIT, IIM tag, but you don't have any of those things. And yet you have made it with your hard work, with your determination. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Just introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, sir. So I did engineering in electronics from Tech Chandigarh, and I have been passed out from 2017. After that, I spent 2 years trying to prepare for UPSC, but I couldn't clear pre in both the attempts. And after that, I decided to go for RBI. And I have seen the people who were also in interview group, that almost everyone had work experience. Either they were banking professionals or they were working in corporate jobs. And I used to feel a little matlab, left out that I don't have any work experience at all. And even if the interviewers will like that, there has been a 2 year gap between my graduation and my RB interview. A lot of students have also asked me the same key, how do they even accept the people who have gap interview? And I can now proudly say that I'm one of those examples ki, yeah, it's not just about your work experience, it's about the kind of person you are and how much you have done in your past, that they see and they find they can also give you a chance to show your talent in organization like this. So that was a very good thing to achieve.
That's wonderful. So 2017 you had passed out and you
Yes,
attempted
sir.
RBI twice, right? So 2018 and
No, no,
19.
sir. This was my first attempt.
Okay, this was your first attempt. So that's
Yes,
very
sir.
interesting. So did you pick
Yes,
up
sir.
on the mistakes that many people make for this examination? Because I have seen that so many people are trying for so many years and they make
Yes,
quite a few
sir.
mistakes and then they find the right trajectory. So how did you actually filter out the noise from all of these kinds of things when you started your preparation?
Sir, in many toppers talk, I have seen that people say that they just prepared for a month and they cleared and they waited for the notification and then they started studying. So I knew ki the competition is so high that these do not actually work in real life. But many aspirants are misguided by this and they wait for the notification. After the prelim result, also they wait and they waste those 4 or 5 precious days, which can take you away from your phase two. So though that was the main crux that I followed, ki I'll not listen to these, but there are many genuine toppers also who talk about ki yeah, how you have to spend your first few months, how you have to finish your static portion first, and you have to make sure that the things which come directly from a given subject, you have to clear those first, so that later on you can move on with your current affairs, which keep on changing and no one knows from where they would ask. But at least the static portion that can fetch you marks, at least you are sure with that. So that was one of the main things that I followed. Ki, yeah, at least I shouldn't lose marks in those things which are sure shot where we can score. So that's the one thing that I would like to tell everyone out there.
Okay, I see. So I'll take this opportunity to dive into the preparation, the three phases, because as you know,
Yes, sir.
it's a different kind of preparation for each of the phases. It's not one exam, but
Yes,
actually
sir.
multiple
Exactly.
exams. So coming to phase one, so what were your marks in the phase one examination? And as of the recording, I'll just tell the audience that we don't have the marks for phase two, and I know that many people have
Yes, sir.
calculated their marks, but I don't want to put you on the spot, and I won't ask you that. But for phase one, if you can.
So I honestly didn't even calculate my phase two marks. I don't know
Okay.
yet. I was just I thought ki it's better to not know right now because that will that would divert my attention and focus from my interview preparation. If I was scoring high, that it might make me a little overconfident and I might not prepare well. And if I was scoring low, so I might not have the enough motivation to work hard for interview. So I thought ki it's better to not go into that marks phase just right now and let's prepare for the interview and we'll see after that. And for phase one, I would like to say that there are basically two kind of aspirants who prepare for RBI. One, those who have prepared for other banking exams and they have some experience with quant reasoning and English. And the other kind are people who have prepared for UPSC for some time and they look for different options after some time and then they enter into RBI. So the first people, they have quite an experience with QRE. So I would suggest ki they should focus more on GA because I think that GA only helps you clear the cutoff. In this, it's an 80 marks out of 200. So scoring high in GA is very important because if you score more than 50, 55, then you have a very high chance to clear the cutoff at least. But if you score less in GA, so I think that would be very difficult to score like 70, 80 marks in QRE combined and clear the cutoff. I scored 70.5 in GA. So that I was pretty sure from the starting that because I was not, the QRE was not my strength because I haven't prepared for that at all. So I thought that I should make GA my strength and at least score enough marks so that I don't have to worry about clearing the cutoff. So for GA, there were multiple sources that I followed because they ask very precise form of GA in this exam also. Like they're very factual questions and you have to remember a lot of things. So it's one personal decision. How do they remember well? I remember well by listening to videos. They help me to they help me in retention. So I used to watch one video daily of any current affair channel that you want to follow. And then I used to watch the monthly videos of Study IQ. And there was a time when I have watched those videos so many times that I could watch the 40-minute video in 10 minutes because I knew almost all the questions that they were showing in the video. So I'll suggest that you need to focus on your strengths much, but you should also take care of your weaknesses because in this time there was a sectional cut. There's always a sectional cutoff, and there was always also a timing. So if even if you score high in GA, but you couldn't clear the sectional cutoff of other parts, then there's no point in scoring high. So for QRE also, I followed different videos online on YouTube only. I didn't chose to, I didn't go for test series directly, but I used to solve tests from many apps like Bankers Adda and whatever practice mock like apps which are available. They provide daily tests. So I'd like to suggest ki you should know the basic tricks to how to solve the question. Uh, there are many like you there are some questions which are very easy. Like I knew how to solve the questions, but it used to take me a lot of time. And with the sectional timing, it became very difficult to to clear the required amount of questions in that time. So you have to I would recommend that you follow a video of any channel that you find connects with you, and you should know the tricks how to solve the questions in less time so that you can clear the sectional cutoff. I spent quite time on quant and I also did well in English. I scored 27 marks in English. I followed online videos. There was a channel, I think 120 rules of grammar. I only followed those, but they were really helpful. For quant and reasoning I only scored 19 marks out of 60. So I just barely crossed the cutoff. And that's because I didn't spend much time on reasoning during my preparation phase. I scored 20 marks in quant out of 30. That was also good, but this reasoning part, I was like, it's. I'm glad that I could clear the cutoff, but it was very close. So I would recommend that do not leave even one part behind, because not clearing the cutoff in one sectional part can take you out of the race in the first part itself. And if you don't clear phase one, there is no point. You have to wait for 6 months or an year for next notification. So focus on each part, and obviously focus more on your strengths, but don't leave your weaknesses behind, because we tend to do that.
Yeah.
It's just natural human behavior. There's nothing wrong in that. But yeah, we should give equal attention to everyone. And matlab, GA, you should give a little high focus, because it can help you in clearing cutoff. So that's the strategy I would suggest for phase one.
Yeah, that's very interesting, Rashveen, that you didn't used to write down all those things. You would used to just see the videos, and the videos would be helping you revise. So you would cut down on the time that you spent on writing these things, and you would just revise it constantly. So I guess that you had built up that database. You had saved those videos in your app or something, and you used to just watch those things again and again, so that you can remember all these things. And going by your marks, I can see that it yielded a lot of benefits in this type of way. Go on.
I was just thinking, as I said, every person has different way of retention. So this is the way that helped me a lot. But mostly people don't talk about this way. So I'm telling the aspirants that this is also a way that you can try. If this helps you, so it doesn't matter what other people are telling you. It's what suits you better. You just have to choose that.
Very, very rightly said that the results matter, and you showed that it actually works. Sir. So if the result works for those people, then they can try that. Otherwise, they can try writing it down the way that they want to. And coming to the phase two preparation now, for the ESI paper, the economic and social issues, how did you go about your preparation?
Actually, sir, I didn't specifically spend much time on ESI in RBI preparation, because for 2 years when I was preparing for UPSC, I studied a lot about economy and social issues. So what I did back then was that the best teacher that I would like to suggest, or best videos if you're just beginning, Mrunal sir economy lectures, which are available on YouTube. Those will help in clearing your basics really well. The sir teaches in a very crisp and basic manner, and I don't think that if you hear his videos, you'll ever have a problem in basic. And after that, you can go for different books if you like. Like there are different books like Shankar Ganesh, or Shriram IAS also takes out economy notes every year based on current affairs. So you can follow those books if you want to follow. So that was my basic thing that I followed for economy. I also joined EduTab course because I wasn't aware of finance and management. I'm not from commerce background, so I had almost zero linkage with those two subjects. So and time was also very less. I had 2-3 months, so I thought to shuffle through books and find the right content, it would be very difficult. But I never followed the ESI portion because I was already well versed with what I had learned during my 2 years. So I decided to just stick with that. And ESI is mostly current affairs based. But to do those current affairs, you have to have your basics strong, because economy is nothing without basics. There are very peculiar basics of economy which you have to know, and otherwise you won't be able to solve current affairs. So you can clear your basic with those books or analysis videos. And after that, what I would recommend is, if you can read a newspaper, you should read a newspaper. Any newspaper which you like, Hindu, Mint, Business Studies, and whatever is comfortable to you. Every newspaper gives almost the same details. It's just written in a different language. The language which you prefer, you can choose that newspaper and just work with it. If you can't do that, PIB publishes daily current affairs, like about everything. You can just go through the site, and I don't think that if you go through PIB, you'll ever have a need to do anything else, because they publish every current affairs, everything related to ministries and different government departments, everything is being posted on that site. Many aspirants have asked me ki, how should we go for ESI current affairs or government schemes.
Yeah.
So this is one short way to cover about every government schemes and all the current affairs that you want to do. PIB is the best short solution. And for government schemes specifically, I would like to say because that was a really big headache for me also, and large amount of questions that I have been asked in past 3 days is about government schemes only. So what I did was ki I took a base material like of any coaching institute that you like, and if you are a UPSC aspirant, you will know that UPSC publishes the schemes that UPSC publish are more of an analytical point of view, and you have to add the facts to that from Google. So, but if you want to focus on RBI perspectives only, there are many institutes in RBI also who are giving daily, matlab, monthly
Compilations.
compilations, and you can follow that also. But those compilations are never enough, either it is of UPSC or RBI. You have to go to Google, you have to go to PIB, you have to go to a ministry website, and you have to note down the details and the past. It's like there is a chronology of schemes. A scheme that is being implemented today, there was a scheme related to that 10 years before, and there was a scheme related to that even 10 years before that. So even if the scheme that is in news today is A, they can also ask a question from the scheme B, which was related to it 10 years ago. Especially what I have seen in this year exam also, that they didn't ask any recent scheme. The scheme they asked were dated very far back on, but either the government had made a change in the previous scheme, or a government had introduced a new scheme which was linked to that scheme. So to cover the schemes, you have to take a base magazine, and then you have to look on the ministry's website and PIB, and you have to cover the schemes which were related to that even 10 years before, because that's what RBI is mainly focused on. So
Okay.
that's the short way of covering government schemes. I know it will take a lot of time, but government schemes hold a lot of importance in ESI. So if you have to clear at least get those marks, 8 to 10 marks, so you have to spend your energy on that. And I know many people who couldn't solve the schemes because it was not in news so much. It was just a point somewhere and related schemes. So this is how you should cover government schemes.
That's
That's
a
what I would
that's a
like to say.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point that you made, and I hope that everybody makes a note of it. That each scheme, it is actually tied to some previous schemes. So try and make that chronology, make that kind of a cascading thing, so that it's stored in your mind. And the old schemes also, they are sometimes asked, and as you said, that RBI focuses a lot on the old schemes as well, so they can create that chronology and they can study all those things, so that ESI is very well prepared. And about the newspapers that you mentioned, like they can cover anyone, Hindu or Mint or Business Standard, so anything it can supplement, and along with the PIB compilations and the PIB website. So that's very interesting. And coming to the finance and management, you mentioned that you were not strong in that, so you had some difficulties for sure. And many people, they are sometimes intimidated by the finance and management section, because there's so much technical jargon out there. There's so
Yeah.
much technical things. So how did you go about that? Was the course that you got, it was beneficial to you in that, and did you have to go for Google?
So finance and management, I'm almost completely focused on EduTap course only, and I really like studying those subjects. Like in there are many subjects that I have to study over past 3 years. I have studied everything from history to economy to political science and everything I've studied. But management is one subject where the current affairs are not at all valid. It's the theories that are being provided to you, and you just have to learn those theories, and you just implement those in exam. So the course that was provided for management was very sufficient. I even went on management study guide website and I went through whole website completely. And they were, I think, 2 or 3 points that I found additional to the course that was provided to me. So I can say that I'm not promoting EduTap or anything. I'm just telling my experience that what I found was sufficient. And I think that I could solve most of the questions that were of the management, what were being asked in the exam. And for finance also, I didn't have any background in finance, so I solely relied on edutap only. And I didn't make any notes on management. If people think that we should make notes and we should revise from them, but point is कि management is already in a point form. It's not like it's a theory is given, and there are summary sheets also which are available on every Telegram. You don't have to buy the course for that. Summary sheets are available, and in that point form is given that this person gave this theory and these are the main points. So why do you have to replicate them again and again and waste your time and energy when you can revise from those notes completely? So I won't recommend that you make notes for management. For finance, I did make some notes, but they were mainly like the formulas that asked and the main point like time value of money and what's bond rate and those things which are the basics of finance which you have to know. And I finished a whole finance in 7 to 8 pages. That's very necessary. You don't make notes in a 50-page booklet. Then there's no point in making a 50-page booklet because before the exam you can't read a 50-page booklet. It should be covered maximum in 8 to 10 pages so that you can take it wherever you go and you can revise it again and again so that you remember, yeah, that's the basic point, and yeah, uske baad this happens. You just need to remember the basic crux. If you actually study finance and management, they are very interesting. I found them even more interesting than economics. And so I would just like to say that people think it's a very tedious job, but once you start actually reading, you just have to revise again and again, especially in management, because obviously we are human beings, we tend to forget. I forgot many theories so many times. I used to get confused between what was the theory for leadership, what was the theory for motivation. And I know everyone who's watching this can relate with me. So the key point is just revision. You have to revise it again and again and again so that you can remember, yeah, these are the theories for leadership and these are for motivation. So that's the main thing I would like to talk for finance and management, that revision is the key. They ask very basic questions in finance and management. This time paper for finance and management was very, very easy. Like if you have read and if you actually know the basics, you can solve almost all the questions. ESI paper was definitely tough, but finance and management was not. And I think that has been a trend for past 2 3 years, like that only. Ki finance and management are from the basic things. So if you are clear with your basics, and I'm sure ki you will be able to solve most of the questions of FNM. They are not tough. You just have to get that phobia out of head ki haan management mein itna padna padega and there are so many theories to remember. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
main
very
thing that I would like.
Yeah, that's very well put actually. That revision plays a very important role. People सबको ऐसे ही लगता है कि अरे इतने सारे sources को हम इकट्ठा करेंगे फिर we'll be reading from so many sources.
Yeah.
That's not helpful. Just focus on a few things and then revise those things again and again so that you have those concepts stored within your mind. And coming to the English preparation, so that is also something that people are sometimes neglecting. How did you take
Yeah,
that together
exactly.
with your preparation?
If I am being completely honest, I also kind of neglected my English preparation. And matlab, I just thought ki I have prepared for UPSC, so I know how to write an essay. I know a lot of current affairs because I have been studying, so I know what has been happening for the past 2 years, and I'll be able to write an essay and all that stuff. I just thought that way, so I didn't prepare much. And a thesis is a new thing that is asked in RBI that I didn't know about before. So I saw the format for that, and in my course only they gave me 2 tests on English descriptive, and I just sent those, and that was the thing that I did for English. But when I was writing my exam in exam hall, it was really, really difficult. Like, it took me, I think, almost 40-50 minutes to write the theses, because when we are typing on when you're typing on your phone, it's very different from what you're typing on your computer. The keys are very rusty, or what you can say. And like, I had so many spelling mistakes, and I had to go back again and clear and write again. And my more than half of my time was just spent in writing theses, and I had only 15 minutes to write my essay. So I just wrote whatever I could and whatever I could gather in those 15 minutes. It helped that I had some background information, but I would not recommend this to anyone ki ignore this English descriptive, because I saw how difficult it was. Like, I was actually terrified when I saw the time and I saw that only 15 minutes are left and I have to write the essay completely. Try to write pieces on your laptop, because it's still more comparable to the computers that they provide. It will be, obviously it will be different, because laptop is still very user friendly and computers are not. But if you practice a little on your laptop, it will still be more easier to do that on a computer. I I suffered terribly because I didn't do that, and I realized my mistake then. So like to recommend to everyone ki don't take this paper lightly. You should practice at least 5 to 10 essays. If you can practice before the phase one, it's better, because after the phase one you get only 20-25 days where you have to revise everything. So writing 5 essays in 20 days gap, it would be very difficult. So at least write 4-5 essays before the notifications comes, even, because after the notification come, we are delved into completely for phase one, because that's also necessary, because the competition is so high right now these days ki you can't choose to deflect in any phase. You have to give your unbounded attention to the phase that you are preparing for. So before the notification come, at least see what are the current topics, what are the current trends that are going on, and write at least 4 or 5 essays and get evaluated from your friends or family or whoever you want to. But you should do that. And pre also, pre mein many people think ki because you have to write in one third words, you can just take out lines and write as such. That won't fetch you marks. You have to read the pieces completely, and you have to see how you can put it in your own words. Because if you completely take the lines and write, that's not the main objective of the pieces. It's like it's to see what you have learned from the paragraph that we have provided you and how you can express it yourself. So I would say that that also comes with experience. When you start writing in your own words, and eventually that will come to you. In starting, you'll only write whatever you see, just changing and the, and that's what happens in the beginning. But when you keep writing after 4 or 5 pieces, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll the words will start coming out themselves. So please focus on this part also. It's an equally important subject, and I won't recommend that anyone has to face the struggle that I did in my exam. So, yes, please give enough importance to this also.
Okay, that's very well put. And coming to the interview phase, now before we begin the talk for the interview, I would also like to ask you that you are from a family, like we were talking, that everybody from your family is into business. They are not
Yes.
into jobs. So how was that decision? And you were firm in your decision that you wanted RBI. And how did your parents and your extended family take it? So how was that like?
So, one thing I like to say that my family has been very supportive of me from the start. And being a girl myself, and I have seen in my extended family also that all the girls were married by 22, 23, and no one went into a job, and no one even thought of doing something, being financially independent. But my family has always said that first you have to get financially independent, and then we'll talk about anything else. They never put any pressure on me ki you are growing in age, so you have to get married. Yeah, this, whatever. They said to me ki my father even said that you have till 30. do whatever you want to do, whichever if firm you want to join and wherever you want to study and whatever. Just do what you want to do in life, and we are here to support you. I know that many girls don't get that option and families are not that supportive, but being financially independent is a very big deal, especially for girls right now these days. And RBI is like one of the dream institutes that can provide you. It can provide you financial stability. It can, it provides you work life balance so that you don't have to leave your career for your family's sake. And this is it's one of the most reputable organizations in India. It's like a complete package that anyone can ask for, and especially for a girl. And I can't tell you how proud my parents and everyone is ki I finally got this job. And it's like if I'm honestly speaking, so you're just set for life. And if you get into this job, it's like you don't have to worry about your life anymore. You'll get everything from the government, and you just have to work hard, and you'll get everything you want in return. That's something that you don't get everywhere, even in corporate life. Mm, yeah,
Yeah.
I have seen my friends working so hard for so little pay, and they're not at all satisfied. But this is one job where you can be satisfied at all fronts, and that is something very hard to achieve in these days.
Yeah, that's beautifully put, and big props to your mom and dad for supporting your dreams. They are really great
Yeah,
people.
yes, sir.
And now coming into the interview preparation, now your profile is extremely interesting. You had no work experience, little to no work experience. You were also doing it
Yes,
for the
yes,
first
sir.
time. And so,
Yes,
how
sir.
was it like? How was that experience like? And that experience of being interviewed by that eminent panel, as we know that it's a very distinguished panel that takes your interview in RBI. And how was it really going into that?
The first thing that I was really scared before going for interview. Genuinely, honestly scared, even when I was sitting outside the room. And because I have seen people in my interview group, there were people who were so experienced, who were so much more knowledgeable, and that creates an kind of an insecurity inside you. Ki, oh my God, I have done nothing for the past 2 years. I have no work experience. I haven't even done post graduation. I haven't gone to a great college like IIT. So how will I fare in the interview panel? But as soon as I went in, and the chairman, he took my like form, and he just saw it, and he said that he said what you were doing, and I told that I was preparing for UPSC. And then he asked me, is this your first attempt? I said yes, sir. And he said that you have usual interview. I said yes, sir, and said that's very good. And that was a moment that I felt so happy and relaxed. Ki the chairman himself like said that thing. Ki, yeah, it's very good that you reached interview in first stage, and he didn't care about ki I wasn't working or that I was preparing for UPSC and I didn't clear that. So that was a very big push up for me. Ki, yeah, the chairman is not keen on focusing on that points, but he's happy. Ki, yeah, I have reached till here till first in my first attempt, and he's interested in seeing what I bring to the table. So everyone talks ki how it's necessary to be working, and if this is the question that I got from so many aspirants ki, ma'am, I have a 2 year uh, break, and I have done this and I have done that, but I couldn't clear anything. So how will the panel react? So I am a live example that the chairman was really happy ki, yeah, I reached this stage, and even though I didn't have any experience in or anything. So that's a very big motivation, and I think it will also help other candidates to relax a little bit and see ki, yeah, you can reach here without even going to top colleges or having any big high work experience. So they don't see only those things. It's your personality, it's what you bring to the table that's more important to them.
So the
So
questions were actually profile based, right? Profile and also some other questions.
no, not really. They didn't ask much from my profile
Okay.
because, as you said, there wasn't any work experience.
Hmm.
So they really matlab, they are focused more on the work experience wala portion. If you have that in your profile, many questions that will be put to you will be from that profile, like especially the people who are in banks and who have a banking experience. Most of your questions will revolve around that point only. So if there's something in your profile, you have to be sure ki you know everything around that. Like it should be 360-degree. If there's something asked from your profile and you can't answer that, that will make a very negative impact. And I have actually seen people who were like, my interview went well, but I couldn't answer a few profile based questions, and they are not selected, unfortunately. I don't know, it's for whatever reason. It might be that the marks in the phase two were less, but this is one thing that you need to be sure of, that whatever you're writing in your form and whatever your profile is, they can ask anything from that and you should be able to answer that. If they are asking any questions generally relating to economy or some typical points which you can't answer, it's okay. You just have to say that I don't know, sir, and they'll move on. They don't even ask you to try and think and whatever. They just move on from that question. So it's okay if you can't answer on those lines. But if there is something related to your profile, so that is something that you need to know. Like they didn't ask me much on profile, but the chairman asked me just one question. Like he, that was a very something that I didn't imagine or expect. Like he asked me ki name one famous world economist, and I couldn't think at that moment. I couldn't just think ki who, and then I gave an answer, and then I think. Uh, I couldn't remember exactly what I said. That I can't recall her name. That she was the chief of IMF, and then
Geeta
she was
Gopinath.
no,
No,
earlier
that's
chief of IMF,
oh,
and then she was transferred to European Bank.
Christine
Christina,
Lagarde.
yeah,
Christine Lagarde. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly that. And I said Christina Lagarde, and then he didn't expect that answer, and then he asked that where she is now, and then I told she's working for the European Bank, and then she asked, he tell me, okay, what are the problems that she would be facing and what she has to do. And that these are the questions which they can ask randomly, which you don't know, which you can't imagine or expect. And but they just want to see how confidently you answer, or if you don't flutter here and you just, you like, no, you don't show it on your face ki, हाँ, oh my god, what did they ask. You just need to be confident and calm ki, हाँ, ठीक है. If you, whatever you can think, you take your own time. If even if you take 10 seconds, they'll just wait. They won't force you through. Just be calm and take your time and then answer. And then he moved on. So this is one thing that I would like to say ki the interview experience is very rich. The people sitting there are so esteemed, and the people that those are giving interview along with you, they have also come through so much in life, and you have been a very lucky ki you reach that stage. So I just wanted to enjoy my interview experience, and I was really happy with how I did an interview. How much scared I was going into the interview panel. I was equally happy when I came out of there. So that's a very big thing. That in itself was a very big achievement to have. So for interview, I would like to say ki you just have to read. Focus especially on newspaper, even if you didn't read it before phase one or for phase two. But interview is mostly current based, so you have to know every issue from 360-degree perspective. So follow any one newspaper that you want to follow, whichever you like and which is easily to understand, and read those. And I got a 3 month time between my interviews, so I read different books too. Like at that time, Abhijit Banerjee came out with his book, and that's the book that I read, because they do ask that to some people also, and the people generally give the same reply. Like I read a book of Raghuram Rajan, or like one two
Yeah.
books that are common in every interview.
That's
So I
true.
would like to recommend that if you think, even if you think yeah, they can ask that question, or if you write reading books as a hobby, so read a different book than what generally people are reading, because that way you'll have a upper edge and you'll have something different to talk about. and you can shift your interview in that direction because you prepared the book, so you know ki what it is telling about and what you can speak about that. So if you want to shift your interview in that direction, you have that opportunity also. So I would just like to say ki if you think ki there is even a slightly chance ki they can ask you this question, don't say the books that are being said by everyone because that won't give you any marks or anything. And if you say a different book which is in news right now, and if you like the book and you can talk about it, so please go for that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful advice, actually, because many people I have actually had the opportunity of talking to some people who were asked outright when they said that I have read I Do What I Do. So people started
Yeah,
laughing. The panel started
exactly.
laughing, and that it's the same book
Yeah,
that everybody is just telling. So tell me some other book. They'll suddenly put you on
yeah,
that spot. So if you can come with a very unique book, maybe not directly to economics, maybe some finance centric
yeah,
kind
no
of thing,
issue.
even a documentary, you can just try to bring something new to the table. And you also put a very interesting thing that you said is that enjoy the experience, because that is what counts. You don't have to put the stress on yourself. Enjoy the experience of the interview, that you've made it to that final stage of this examination. That's very well put. Another thing that as we try to wrap these things up, I would like to just reflect on the things that you struggled with in your life. So offline we were talking about your struggles with depression, and we were talking about failures in life, because people usually will be talking about their success, they never talk about the failures. And I believe
Yes,
that every
exactly.
successful person, that person will be going through so many failures. So can you talk a little bit about that story as well?
Yeah, sure, sir. Till my 12th standard, I was one of those topper students who can do anything. Like, I scored great marks in my 12th standard, and then I went to college. And in the first semester only, I dropped from 95% to 60%. And that was like a eye-opening thing, ki something that I couldn't even relate. Ki how could I score so less marks? Ki I was scoring 95% in school, and in college first semester I'm scoring 60%. So that's one thing that I have seen in with many people, especially toppers. I have read blogs of so many interview candidates or people who have cleared ki they just said ki the way we were in school and how much we have achieved, it was completely different in college. We couldn't replicate what we did in school in college. The same was the case with me. And after that, I didn't go for a private placement. I decided that I wanted to pursue UPSC. So I just, after completing my graduation, I went directly to Delhi and I gave UPSC exam and I couldn't clear prelims. And after that, it was a very big, I missed it by zero point 0.5 marks, but it was a very big setback for me. And after that, I had so many health issues. Like I suffered from typhoid and jaundice, and I started having migraine pains. And and then I slowly realized that it like I was suffering from depression, and because I couldn't, there have been so much time, and I couldn't achieve anything. And so after that, I again gave prelims next year, and I missed it again. And that feeling of not being able to achieve anything for so long, it became even more severe. And then I decided it's very difficult to talk about these things because even especially the generation, your parents' generation, they don't think कि depression is actually a thing, and they kind of believe कि नहीं थोड़ा बुरा लगा है and she'll get better, she'll do it right and everything like that. But I realized कि I need some help. I need to talk to someone who can help me feel a little better about myself, or who can tell me कि it's okay even if you're failing. It was 2 years since I had passed out college and I couldn't achieve anything. I used to see my friends who were earning and going to places and having trips and everything, and I was just sitting at my home, not being able to achieve anything for past 2 years. I gave two different papers along with that, but I couldn't clear even those. I couldn't clear even state services. So that was a very big thing for me. Ki, yeah, after doing so much of hard work and putting so much effort, I couldn't clear even one exam. So then I decided ki, yeah, I need some help. I need to get myself back on that ki, yeah, ki, to have that hope ki, yeah, I can achieve even after this. So I went for therapy, and firstly, my parents were not that very supportive, but yeah, eventually they came on my level and they said ki, yeah. But I have seen in my many friends that who have also chose to go for therapy, ki, but they're not very comfortable sharing that with their parents because they think that their parents will not agree. So I know ki it's a very big stigma, or people have created it to be that, but it's just like another disease. I took medicines because I was suffering from typhoid or jaundice or migraine pains. Similarly, I took therapy sessions for my mental health issues, and it's I haven't seen anyone, even any topper who has struggled for 3 or 4 years or even 2 years, talk about how he struggled during these preparation, because I have seen almost everyone struggling with these things. Every friend that I have talked to, or everyone who couldn't clear the exam in 1 or 2 years sitting at home. I know this creeps up in everyone's mind. I have seen it first handedly, but no one ever talked to me about it. But because I decided ki enough was enough and I need some help, so I went and I got better. And that is also one major reason that I was able to give my 100% focus to RBI, because if I hadn't been in my right shape of mind, I don't think I would have given so much attention, and I would have been so focused during my preparation to clear this in my first attempt. So this is something that I would like to talk to all the aspirants ki we all know ki we all suffer from these one time or another, and it's okay to talk about it. If you don't want to go for therapy, it's okay. Just talk with someone. We generally shut ourselves out because that was what I do, thinking ki no one will understand me. I'm alone going through this phase, and my friends are working, so they won't understand. My parents can't actually relate to me. But when you talk to people, you find out that everyone is struggling from the same thing. Because when I became vocal about my struggle, many friends came and talked to me ki haan, we are also suffering, and what should we do, and how can it become better. So just me being vocal gave voice to so many of my friends. And from this platform, I would just like to say ki whoever is suffering from that, just please go and talk to someone, because we have seen ki suicide rates are increasing so much. I was reading and I saw ki everyone are at least one or two students commit suicide. So it was very disheartening, and it's this is one life that you got. I know that exams and achieving something and making your career is very important, because I have been through that. It's been more than 3 years since I left the college, almost 4 years. After 4 years, I got something. So I have seen ki what it feels like, and it's not just 1 year that I have waited ki people won't relate to me ki I'm just saying rubbish things just to increase my publicity or whatever. It's been 4 years after what I achieved something. So I know this feeling, and I know ki how people suffer. So I just want to tell you ki please go and talk to anyone. Even if you want to talk to me, I'll give my Telegram username or Insta username or whatever you want. Just come and talk to someone to get out of this phase. And suicide is not an answer.
That's
Like
true.
I waited, and finally I got something. Most of the people, if you wait, you will get something. I know waiting is very difficult. It was very difficult for me also. But you have to have one hope. Matlab, either it's your parents, your girlfriend, boyfriend, your friends, or your faith in God. Whatever it is, just hold on to one thing. Anything which suits you, which looks good to you, just hold on to that. Have faith in yourself and just keep going. one day, sooner or later, you will get what you deserve. The hard work that you does, it doesn't go in vain. Just remember that. And please, if you're suffering, so please go out and talk to someone or get a help and get yourself better, because only if you're mentally better, only then you can put your 100% effort in any exam. Otherwise, it's very difficult to do so.
Very true. Very
Thank you,
true.
sir, that you let me talk about this thing.
No, it's actually something that's so very important. And I also get a lot of messages. People write to me about their struggles, and society doesn't really value these kinds of stories because we keep telling ourselves that it's thoda bura lag raha hai, abhi kuch din baad theek ho jayega. But that isn't really always the case. People are going through depression, and depression is not something that you can just thoda meditate kar liya to chala gaya. Nahi, itna easy nahi hai. There is a chemical problem that's happening. So you have to take care. You have to talk to people. You have to get medication if that's necessary. And I would like to
Yes,
say
sir,
that you are very brave,
absolutely.
and your courage will hopefully inspire so many other people as well to actually pursue this. That's so very important.
Thank you, sir.
And yeah, so any people, any special people that you would like to thank in your journey, because it's been a long time and you must have been supported by your parents and special friends. So any names that you would like to take?
And my family has been very, very supportive of me. Both of them have been like, they have stood by me throughout all the time. And I have had one or two friends who had been there for me since the start. I know people say that many friends also move on from you when you're not achieving things. This is also one very important thing that you need to realize ki there will be many friends who just drift away from you during this preparation, because it's not an easy journey. And it's okay, but you'll also find some people who will be ready to stick with you and ready to support you. So I was lucky that I had a few people like that in my life. And I couldn't have done it without their support, because you need it very much, especially when you don't have something and you're waiting and you're hoping. So you need some additional motivation to go keep you going. So just don't take yourself away from everyone. It's not an answer ki I'll be sitting alone and I'll prepare and I'll do this and I'll do that. It's not, it won't be completely beneficial, because you at least need one or two people who are there to support you throughout your journey. Without external help, a little motivation, a little support, it's few people can do it, but most of us can't. So it's okay if you need support. Just accept it and keep it with you and keep going. And you'll finally reach this stage where you can say, yeah, I finally achieved something.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And as we come to a close, so finally, I would just like to say that we see a lot of men actually succeeding in this exam. There are very few people, very few women who actually succeed. So in this male-dominated field, you are a woman who has succeeded. You have been through your struggles, and there might be a lot of young women watching this right now. So what would be your final message that you want to give to them?
Firstly, and most importantly, I'd like to say कि just don't get bogged down with the forces of the society. I know it's very difficult, especially if you don't have supportive parents and your extended family who just keeps pressuring you to get married, or why do you want to have a life, or why do you want to get a job when you just have to get married. But uh, this is something that I have realized from my experiences only. Ki being financially independent is really, really important for girls, especially in these days where already very difficult to get a name for yourself. Either it's a man or a woman, because unemployment is so on high, and it's getting a job is already very difficult. So it's equally important for both to achieve a name, but being a woman, you have to, because if you financially succeed, it won't only help you, but it will also help your family and your future life. And honestly, if I can say that, it will also give a push to your next generation ki because my family, my mother has achieved something, so it will also give a push to them ki yeah, it will also make them feel proud, and they'll be better human beings, and they'll be better able to stand up for themselves in the society if you are able to stand up for yourself. So just even if you have to fight your parents for this thing, I would recommend that you should, because this is a I know that eventually they'll be very proud of you when you achieve this, or anything at all that you want to achieve. But you should, and you should stand up for yourself. Start standing up for yourself right now, so that you can do it even better, and you can help other women to stand up for themselves in the future. That's what I would like to say.
That's amazing. And Rashveen, I thoroughly enjoyed our talk. You are a very inspirational lady, and I wish that you have
Thank you
a
so much,
lot
sir.
more successes in your life, and we will be seeing a lot of things, great things for you in the future. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us today, and God bless you. Congrats once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir.